Have you ever noticed how the full moon seems to bring about some strange happenings in your life? Perhaps you've seen more fights, more drama, or maybe even experienced heightened creativity and energy during this time. You may have even heard of something called lunar psychosis, which describes a supposed increase in madness during a full moon. But how much truth is there to these claims? How does the moon affect our consciousness, and what can we do to leverage this for our own benefit? Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode. First off, we want to say a huge thank you to everyone who supported us. It really means a lot and helps us continue helping others. Now, let's get into it. The idea that the moon has an effect on humans is nothing new. Ancient civilizations would use the cycles of the moon to predict their own menstrual cycles and keep track of time. And Greek mythology even tells the story of a man named Lycaon who was driven insane by the full moon. Since then, the idea of lunar psychosis has persisted throughout history, with many people believing that the moon controls everything from animal behavior to human emotions. In 1999, a group of researchers decided to investigate this phenomenon further. They looked at over 1,000 emergency room visits and found that there were significantly more psychiatric admissions during a full moon. However, when they repeated their study a few years later, they found no significant difference in admissions. So is the moon really to blame for bouts of insanity? Or are there other factors at play? Well, there are a couple of things going on here. First, the moon does not cause insanity, but it can affect our sleep. This is because the gravitational pull of the moon causes tides to go in and out. And yes, this applies to the water in our bodies as well. When the gravitational pull is stronger, we tend to lose half a liter or so of water. Our brains are about 75% water, so this affects us too. The result is that we lose a small amount of sleep during the full moon and become slightly more tired. It might seem like a small thing, but sleep deprivation can have a big impact on our mental state. In fact, just one night without sleep can be enough to make someone feel depressed. After 2 days, hallucinations and paranoia can set in. And after 3 days, people start feeling very anxious and have trouble concentrating. But there's another factor at play here as well. Full moons tend to shine brighter than other moons. This is because when the sun hits the moon, we can see the side that reflects the most light. And while it might be beautiful to look at, all that extra light can actually affect our sleep quality. Researchers peg this as another reason for the apparent rise in lunacy. So while the moon itself doesn't turn us into werewolves, its gravitational pull and brightness can disrupt our sleep patterns and make us feel more tired and irritable. But is that all there is to it? Well, some studies have suggested that the moon may have an even more profound effect on our brains. For example, one study conducted in the late 90s found that the melatonin levels of 33 healthy young women changed in response to lunar phases. Melatonin is a hormone that regulates our sleep-wake cycle, and exposure to moonlight can suppress its production. What this means is that the moon can literally mess with our internal clocks and make it harder to fall asleep. Another study took this a step further and studied the effect of lunar phases on the reproductive hormones of men. They collected semen samples from 24 men and found that sperm counts were lower during the full moon. They theorized that the electromagnetic radiation coming from the moon could affect the delicate balance of hormones needed to produce healthy sperm. So it seems like there is some truth to the idea that the moon can affect our body. But again, these studies don't suggest that the moon causes insanity, only that it can disrupt our sleep and hormone levels. So what if the moon doesn't drive us crazy? What about those emergency room visits during the full moon? Well, there is another explanation for this. According to psychiatrist Dr. John R. Gartner, people who need help during the full moon are more likely to seek it out. Why? Because they can see the moon better. Dr. Gartner explains it this way. During the full moon, people feel less alone. They can see the moon, and they know millions of other people can see it too. But they also know that no one else is paying attention to the moon. So it's a kind of socially sanctioned psychosis. People feel free to act out because they're sure no one will think they're crazy. In fact, Dr. Gardner conducted his own study and found that police officers were more likely to shoot suspects during the full moon. He also found that homicides and suicides peaked around the full moon, as did drownings, fires, traffic accidents, and teen pregnancies. While these statistics are concerning, it's important to remember that the moon isn't the only variable at play here. There are other factors that could be contributing to these spikes, such as increased alcohol consumption during the summer months. However, there is one thing that has remained constant throughout all of these studies, and that is the fact that the moon has an effect on us. We don't always notice it, but there are times when the lunar cycle aligns with our emotions and behaviors. For example, it's been found that women are more likely to menstruate when the moon is full. This makes sense when you consider the fact that the moon and the earth both rotate on their axes once every 27 days. That means that the same part of the earth receives sunlight every day. But it also means that the same part of the moon faces the earth during that time period. Scientists believe that this alignment caused the tides to rise and fall in sync with our menstrual cycles. And while it may seem like a far-fetched theory, there is evidence to support it. A study published in the journal Human Nature found that the menstrual cycles of 214 women living in Tanzania were synchronized after just 10 days of living together. So while the moon may not be causing madness, it is affecting us in ways we didn't realize. It's even been linked to our creativity and ability to focus. Studies have shown that people who live near the equator are more creative when the moon is full. That's because they're able to see the moon better than people who live further away. And since creativity is often linked to problem-solving skills, this could be a useful trait for anyone. Another study found that students were able to focus better and for longer periods of time during a full moon. Researchers believe that this is because the brightness of the moon increases alertness, making it easier to concentrate. However, it's not all good news. Some studies have found that the moon can also affect our moods. In fact, one study found that people are more likely to commit suicide during a full moon. Researchers believe this is because the extra sunlight during this time makes people feel more alert, which can trigger negative thoughts and feelings. Another study found that couples are more likely to fight during a full moon. This is likely due to the stress and tension caused by the lunar cycle. So it seems like the moon can affect us in a variety of ways, both good and bad. It's important to be aware of these effects so that we can protect ourselves and others during times of heightened emotion. So what can you do to protect yourself from the negative effects of the moon? Well, first, try to get as much sleep as possible during a full moon. This may be difficult, but it's important to try to maintain a regular sleep schedule as much as possible. Getting enough sleep will help you stay focused and prevent you from acting out. Second, be aware of the increased tension and stress during a full moon. This doesn't mean you have to be paranoid, but it does mean you should be aware of the potential for conflict. Try to diffuse arguments before they become physical altercations. And third, reach out for help if you or someone you know needs it. Do you want to hesitate to call a friend or family member if you're really feeling down or need someone to talk to? You can also reach out to a mental health professional if necessary. The moon is a powerful force of nature, and it's important to respect its power. By following these tips, you can help ensure that you and others stay safe during a full moon. Thanks for watching. Do you find the information in this video useful? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to like and share this video if you think it will help someone else. Don't forget to subscribe so you can keep learning. The studies and references used are listed in the description below. Until next time, and thanks for watching.